Hey everyone, so this is Kat, and today I'm going to do a video on suicide, actually. And the big thing is suicide affects everybody around you, your friends, your family, and the main thing is I'd really like you to know that if you are even thinking about suicide or hurting yourself in any way, whether it's cutting or anything, then you should really seek help. Talk to your close friend, your family, or there's actually a hotline number that I will post in the comments, as well as in the I'll have a note in the video that will actually give the hotline number. So, but I've had friends who have committed suicide to protect their families and them, even though they're not around anymore. I will leave their names out of it, but each one has affected me. And as such, this video is dedicated to them. I will actually eventually get a tattoo that symbolizes all my friends who have committed suicide. I haven't decided if I'm going to add their names onto it, but for the most part, most people who commit suicide, they don't talk about it, or if they're thinking about it, they don't tell anybody. So it's a common misconception where, someone says something like, this life isn't worth living, I want to kill myself, that, people think that they're not actually going to do it, but you can take that too seriously. A while ago, maybe about 10 years ago, actually, 10, 11 years ago, I was dating a guy, and in my apartment, when he came up to visit me from Florida, he actually held a knife to his wrist and was telling me that he was going to kill himself right there in front of me and my children. And I couldn't talk him out of it. So I actually called the cops on him because I don't, especially in front of me or my kids, I don't want, I didn't want to lose him to suicide, although we're not together now. But things kind of went the wrong way after that, and he couldn't forgive me for actually taking the step to call the cops on him. So he broke up with me soon after that. But because of that, and to this day, he's still alive. And a part of me wonders if I didn't do that, if I just let him, kill himself, what that, I don't know. I mean, it just, it really affects people. My closest friends have committed suicide. I had a friend of mine who I hadn't talked to in almost a year, and one day, just out of the blue, I was like, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. Like I said, I'm going to leave names out of it. So I'm like, I wonder how, this person is doing, so let me go up on their Facebook. And that's where I saw all sorts of posts like RAP, and we're going to miss you. And so I made contact with his family member, with one of his family members that I figured out, because I always knew that he was named after someone. So I looked for that person, and I found out what had happened to him. And I was distraught because he always told me, he was depressed, he couldn't find a girlfriend, and I always just thought it was just him trying to get attention, but apparently it wasn't. And I feel really bad because a part of me just wonders if there was ever something I could have done. But I know now that there probably wasn't. But if he'd have told me that he was thinking of it, then maybe I could have done something. Maybe I could have called the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and talked to them to find out how I could have helped him, or maybe I could have contacted one of his family members, and that might have, helped him. But there's a lot of what ifs that people who have been through that, dealing with the loss of a friend or a family member or even the neighbor down the street that you don't know, can still affect you if they kill themselves. And, most people, it is proven that most people who suffer from depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, alcoholism, or even drugs, will kill themselves. And they do. financial reasons, troubles with relationships. It could be someone had an argument. You know what? I've tried to kill myself. I tried to kill myself a few different times. One was because of a bad marriage that I was in. I didn't know any other way out. I was pregnant and I wanted out, and I didn't know any other way out. So I did an overdose of Depakote and aspirin. And I know people will say that aspirin, you can't kill yourself, but you can. You can kill yourself on aspirin, you can kill yourself on Tylenol, and it's not pretty. You know, everybody around you becomes affected by it. There was a time where I took like 4 or 5 Klonopins because me and my current husband, we had gotten into an argument and he stormed off and left. I don't even remember what the fight was about, but that's besides the point. I felt like he was gonna leave me and I couldn't have that, so I tried to kill myself, to go to sleep forever. And as such, you know, my dad came home from church, my husband came home from wherever he was, and they called the cops. And the cops showed up. They had me taken to the hospital to make sure that I would be okay. And my psychiatrist showed up, and my psychiatrist agreed that I could be sent home. Sorry if you hear the scratching, it's my cats. I locked them out of the room. um, so I'm. Hang on, I'll be right back. She does want to come in. She just wants to be a pain because I locked the door. Speaking of cats, it's actually a proven fact that if someone is depressed, then a cat or an animal might actually help them. And so, you know, if you're depressed or, you know, and you feel like harming yourself, I used to be a cutter. So when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm not talking about it just from the friend's point of view or the family member's point of view. I'm talking about it from, you know, someone who's been down that road. It's not pretty. It's not a good feeling. You know, I'm lucky to be here because I took an entire bottle of Depakote, which should have put me into a coma and never woke me up. And, you know, I take Depakote now. I'm bipolar, and believe me, I go through an everyday thing of, you know, is this life really worth living? But then when I think about it, I have a beautiful daughter. I have, that's a picture of me and my husband. I have a great husband, and I remind myself of stuff like that. Sorry about the glare. But, you know, I have, you know, people that people that love me and care for me, and, you know, it just, and I think about, if I commit suicide, if I kill myself, then I wouldn't just be hurting myself. I would be hurting my daughter who's 8. I would be, you know, I don't have my 2 sons with me, and yeah, I thought about killing myself when I lost my 2 sons to social services. But you know what? In the end, I will find those boys one day. If I kill myself, I'll never get the chance to tell them what really happened, you know, and let them continue living the lies that social services and their adoptive parents have probably told them. And I think about that. You know, I have people in a video game that love me to death. You know, I've been told that if I kill myself, I'm not just affecting my dad or my mom or my sister, my brother, my husband, his family. His family loves me. Rare, right? And so, if you were thinking about killing yourself at all, please, I beg of you, get some help. If you don't know anybody that you can talk to, there are support groups. National Alliance for Mental Illness actually offers support groups for people who are bipolar. So if you're bipolar and have no one else you can talk to, look them up. I'll post their link in the comments as well. And look them up and look into one of their free support groups. It's 100% free. I'm actually thinking about giving it a shot because I don't have very many people who are bipolar who understand what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis. You know, and yes, this life sucks. No one said life is fair. Life is horrible, actually. And yes, you might lose your kids to social services, or you might have had a stillbirth or miscarriages. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. Your husband might leave you, or your wife might leave you, or they might cheat on you. But you know what? You have to pick up the pieces and move on, and know when it is time to get help. Use therapy, and you know what? Therapy's not as bad as people make it out to be. You're not just laying on a couch talking about your problems. When I went to therapy, I would talk to my therapist about what I was going through, problems that I was having, and she was very helpful and she always gave me advice like, well, so you and your husband are fighting right now. Did you think that maybe it's the stress from the pain that your husband's in? He's a disabled vet now. And so she was like, do you think, that could be it? Well, maybe y'all can try this. And I would do it. And, every once in a while I go through the phase of, this world is so screwed up that why does anybody even want to live in it? But you know what? At the same time, you got to look at it with different eyes. It's beautiful. Life is beautiful. Yes, you might go through hell when you're 16. You might get bullied, but it's not the end of the world. In the end, you're letting them win by ending your life because now they don't have you to bully, so they're going to go find someone else to bully. Or they're going to go find someone else to do whatever. You know what? You got to pick up those pieces and move on. And if you can't do it by yourself, get help. There's antidepressants that are actually helpful. And if you can't afford those, go on and pick up krill oil. It's very helpful. And I use it as a backup. There's a lot of good benefits to it. It's natural. If you have a hard time sleeping at night and you can't afford a sedative from a doctor because it's prescription, get yourself some melatonin. Melatonin knocks me out like a light, and it is perfect. There's also other things that you can do as well. Journal. See? You can write about all your problems, everything going on in your mind, and yes, you can see this is still a brand new journal. I'm still, anytime I have a hard time or anything, I even have a journal entry in here about, my friends who have committed suicide because their anniversaries are coming up. One of them just passed. Another one is coming up in April. And those days are really hard for me because I can't call them up and say, hey, how's it going? I can't, make arrangements to go to the movies with them anymore or to call them up. I can't listen to certain songs like Stain's song It's Been a While. I can't listen to because one of my friends, or two of my friends who committed suicide within a month apart, um, less than a year apart actually. One was in May, the other was in April, but it was still, or not April, March, sorry. So it was still like less than a year apart. They were brothers, and they were both my best friends. I loved them to death, you know. Um, and I still go to their graves every once in a while, and I'll lay down a flower, and I'll write a letter. I actually have been meaning to write a letter to one of my friends who I've never been able to go see his grave, and send it down to his dad and ask his dad to take it for me. I'm sure his dad would if I asked him. I just have, and you know what? I have to say that it feels good knowing that you are not the only one going through it. And if you guys do not feel like you can talk to anybody, you can talk to me. Just send me a message, put it in the comments, whatever, send me a personal message. I check my emails frequently. I'll post my Facebook, my Twitter, um, and my Tumblr. So this way you can have a way to contact me or add me or whatever if you want. And this way, you know, you can have someone to talk to, even if it's just to say, hey, I'm really feeling depressed. You know, I will listen. My husband will listen. If y'all don't, guys, if y'all feel more comfortable talking to a guy, I'll tell you how to find my husband, and he will talk to you. And I know he will. I'll even tell him, hey, I gave so and so your Facebook, so they might add you because they need someone to talk to. So, don't just please seek help if you are feeling like you want to harm yourself, if you're already harming yourself. And for the record, since I'm on the subject of suicide and self harm, these teenage girls that cut themselves because Justin Bieber was doing weed or because Zayn Malik has left One Direction, get over it. Because you know what? It's going to happen. I'm surprised One Direction has lasted 5 years. NSYNC lasted about that long, and then they were gone. So I'm surprised that One Direction is still here. And as such, you know what? These I It's no joke. It's no joke to be cutting yourself. It's no joke to tell people, "Oh, I'm going to kill myself because this celebrity, is doing this." It's like, you know what? Get over it because that's a stupid reason. And but then again, it's not, to the person it might not be a stupid reason. There is no reason why you should ever end your life. And I'm not bringing this to you on the fact of, being a Christian because, you know what, I believe even if you kill yourself and you believe, then you'll still go to heaven, but you'll answer for the sin of taking your own life too soon. Just let nature run its course. And yes, if you're depressed, I'm sure that there are thousands of people right this second with a gun to their own head. And it saddens me to say that. I just want, my viewers, my subscribers, and anyone else who will see this video, please, by all means, share it, like it, whatever. I don't care because a lot of people need to hear this message. Do not kill yourself. Do not harm yourself in any way, shape, or form. It will affect you because you won't be here. It will affect your friends, your family, your parents, your kids, you know, your husbands, your boyfriends, girlfriends. Think about what you're doing. Think about who you're leaving behind, not what you're leaving behind. So don't think about, oh, well, I'm leaving behind a bad world. Think about if I go, I'm leaving behind, my family who loves me, my friends who love me, even though they don't always say, hey, I love you. Because you know what? Friends don't tell each other they love each other. Not all of them. I have a female friend who, whenever me and her talk, she always says, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. Now, it's nothing sexual between us. We're just really good friends. And we've never met in person, but we play World of Warcraft together. And you guys know I play WoW, obviously, if you're my subscribers, because you've seen my other videos on World of Warcraft. Personally, my opinion, if you're going to kill yourself, most people will just say, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to get help. But get help if you're thinking about it. If the thought even crosses your mind one time, then you have a suicidal tendency and you should get help quickly before you do something rash. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and like I said, if you like it, please subscribe to my channel. You can share my video on YouTube, Facebook, or not YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever social networking thing you use. Please share it. Share it with your friends. And I really hope that you get the help that you need. I'm writing. If you need any help at all trying to line it up, then that's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number. It's 1-800-273-8255. So, I'll also make sure I post it at the end of the video, and I'll make sure that I post it in the comments as well. But please get help if you are thinking about killing yourself. And thank you for watching.